Alright, mate. Let's look at BAL and UMA here. You did say, yeah, Coinbase on UMA is the oldest. These are always tricky. You see this rounding nature here? There's rounding nature here. Even though there's a spike, if you took away the spike, it's kind of rounding. You can see this is rounding, even though there's a spike in the middle of it. We round it here. We round it, not really rounded there, but yeah, that's about all the rounding. But of course, we're there's no question we're beat down. We're putting in this flat base. A lot of times, you put on flat base like this, you can get some sort of movement up. Now, I do think that there's a very good chance for many altcoins to roll over and go to new lows at some point. I think those new lows, if we get them, will be great buys. But we can see here, this is a weekly chart, but for the weekly chart, this needs to get above the white 100 moving average for a real bull market. So what are we going to do between now and then? Between now and when we can get above this? This has just started to drop sharply. This is the start of the drop. Trying to think. You can see here, as an example, this is XEM, but you can see once it starts to drop sharply, you get that turnover. A lot of times it can drop and then start really dropping sharply, even though the price does not really drop too much. Okay, the price can continue to go sideways, but the moving average will want to act like a magnet and move into price, right? So that'll act like a magnet there. This white 100 moving average will be attracted to price and try and come down into price. So that you can see what's happening there actually as well. Beautiful. Look at this on the XEM is starting to drop down. That's very nice. This could continue to base. So it just shows you though, you get to move up and you can see this entire movement. Of course, we dropped right back down and went to new lows on this on XEM. You can see here. We did roll over again. It's a weekly chart, but it just shows the length of the base, right? We can see 28th of January 2019, and we could, like, even here is still a base. I would say the base probably ended there, for example, and that is June 2020. So you're talking a year and a half or whatever for that base. So anyway, if we do go back to BAL here, I was getting a little bit sidetracked with that, but there is a bearish weekly candle here. There's a weekly chart, and there's only 4 days left. But at this point, this is a bearish weekly candle. Now, in saying that, BAL could be a buy right now. Right, BAL could be a buy right now, because sometimes when you come down and stop on this previous candle, there can be, say by the end of the week, it could close up here. The next week then can sometimes move off up there and get that continuation. Now, if I look back at, actually, it's not a great example, GMX, it didn't actually move up yet, but there was a stop hunt right down here. If I zoom that in, you can see there's a bit of a stop hunt right down into that yellow wick. But it moved up from that stop hunt, and then the next day it got more upside. Okay, so there definitely was more upside, but it's failing today in this bad market. So we need to see how this plays out. But if you had bought just after the stop hunt, there definitely was more upside to be made, to be had. But there's no question at this moment in time, this is a bearish weekly candle that can imply that there should be more downside, especially if it finishes down here. At this point, it is a bit of a knife catch in the attempt to see if this can bounce a bit and then next week have a green week higher. Okay, so that is a knife catch trade right there, but you got to be careful on that. If it breaks below this stop hunt level, you want to be out of that trade if you're long. Otherwise, it's not good, because if it breaks, it can drop pretty hard. The other thing here is we could be just having a red 2-week, not reversal, but a pullback candle, a little bit like this. So you get the big move up, and then you get one red 2-week candle, and then you got more upside on the next 2 weeks. So that could also be what's kind of happening. We need to see how it plays out, of course. This is a bearish 2-week candle that if it finishes like this, it can imply more downside. But if, however, we could finish maybe halfway up there or create a wick, there's more chance of this moving a bit higher. So, but there's a long way to go on that. There's 11 days left in that, so it's no point really looking at that just yet. But it's something to keep in mind. It's been such a tricky coin. It is one of those coins that has not had a move up yet. We are now red on this month, so I'm not sure if you're in BAL or not. But as long as this is red on the month, you need to be careful. If it creates this wick down, flips up, if it flips green again, that is a better sign to get long, because then we might be attempting to create a green candle. Once you're red, you got to be careful it doesn't get more red. So probably best to have a little bit of patience on this and see how it develops. I mean, this is monthly charts here. Look at this. This is crazy. It's a crazy monthly chop. So unfortunately, no movement, no direction yet, no clear direction. This is actually a bullish reversal that can imply a small dip here should be a buy for a bounce higher. But when things are this choppy, you can get a lot of wrong signals or mixed signals on the chart. So definitely still need to be careful. Okay, so look at UMA here. UMA, definitely an interesting one. I like the fact that we kind of stop hunted there. In a real bullish trend, you'd want to see this green line hold. So dips down into this level, probably should pierce that and not go too much lower and come back up and try and move higher. If that trend is, actually truly bullish, that's the way I would kind of play that. That's what I would be looking for. The deeper you come back down, it's just not as good. Okay, it's not ideal. The 9-week candle is forming a bullish. It's a bullish outside bar, is it? No, it's not a bullish outside bar. No. But it is a bullish engulfing candle at this point, implying a new 9-week candle. If it stays like this, can do something like that and continue to move up. But we're a long way away from that. There's still a month left, a month and 5 days left before we find that out. So we definitely need patience for that signal, but it's one to keep in mind. The monthly is red. As long as this is red, you got to be careful. In case it does stay red, or in case we have a red monthly candle, we could dip down and have a red month here. So as long as it stays red, it's technically bearish. Let's a quick look at the 2-week chart. Yeah, again, this 2-week candle it's not ideal, but like you can see here, we got moves up into the moving average, and then it rejected, and we continued lower. That is the worry here. That is the worry again, that this could continue lower. Obviously, what am I going to say here? Like I was going to say something about this BART pattern, but it's not really sufficient enough at this point. Like, although this is a bullish monthly engulfing, it's a very good candle. These still can roll over though. They definitely can still roll over. Like, there's also a hint of it is a higher high here, but it could also be a bit of a bearish stop hunt. Maybe that was the profit taking before this rolls over. Now, I don't mean to sound too bearish, but we are in a strong bear trend, and that's always the worry when something like this happens, that you can continue lower and just keep going lower. But we don't know that. I'm just kind of speculating. It's always good to look at the risks before you look at the bullishness. If you understand the risks, then you can understand your trade a lot better, or at least be safer. We need to see how this goes. Is this going to consolidate a bit more bullish and get some more upside? At this point, you have to still slightly favor the bears, but there is warnings there that maybe these things want to roll over a bit. If Bitcoin and stocks roll over, well, these will probably roll over as well. What's kind of concerning, we're only 3 days into the week, and we've already created a bearish engulfing candle. This could get even worse. Like you can see here, this created a pretty bad candle, and then we drifted lower again. Okay, so that's what the market wants to avoid. We want to avoid that weakness. And honestly, well, I wish I had a crystal ball. I'm not sure, but it's tricky here. The last thing I will say here is, though, there is many coins trying to create a 3-month bullish engulfing candle. It is the same on, forget now, there's a couple other coins. Dusk is one of them. It's creating a candle like this, a bullish engulfing candle. If it can hold up, I mean, if this drops down, it opens the door for a new red 3-month candle to go a bit lower. Now, I don't know where it can go at this point. You know, when you break the new lows, it's very difficult to call where it's going to go. But if this drops down more, the new 3-month, it opens the door for a new 3-month. If this holds strong up here, well, it'll open the door for a potential green candle that can go higher. Okay, so the market's deciding if we're going to drift lower, continue to drift lower here. It's a worry that this market is going to roll to new lows. Okay, so that's the way to play it. It's trying to be bullish here, but we don't know if it can hold up or not.